Hello, Brian Scott, the Mystic Skull. This is on just on a whim. I did this video. I didn't get. I usually pull Jeff into doing these videos with me. He might come on. Again. I'm redoing arranging my room for about the sixth time this year. I'm never happy. This time though, I am throwing stuff away. So I want to talk about what I'm seeing. I'm on vacation this week, so I'm seeing a lot of these advertisements on online. And what I'm seeing is it's going to be a very obvious progression, right? You have a really blooming interest in cameras reoccurring in this country, at least in this country. I think it is everywhere, but it's definitely this country, the US. And you also are seeing, um, a lot of the Chinese scammers coming out, and because there is a great divide, there's the real $2,000-3,000 cameras, and then there's these cheap cameras that the average person can afford. There's very little middle room in cameras. Oh, you do find some that are $300 or $400, but that's very rare. So what we're seeing now is the at least I don't know. They might not be American companies, but at least companies that are catering to a Western, mostly Western audience. You're seeing them taking the scammers off of sites like Alibaba and Temu and things like that, and they're reselling them, which is perfectly fine, especially if you're getting them off of um, Alibaba. Because hey, Jeff, what's up? Um, I just started, so you came. So I'm talking about the rise of the reselling of scammers online. So you have Alibaba, they'll sell this camera, and they'll sell them for like $5 if you buy 5,000 of them or something like that. And so you tell Alibaba, "Oh, I want to put that one street on there or whatever your brand is." And they say, "Sure." And they'll send out a whole bunch of them like that. And then you charge up, right? So all good, all good. But as we all know, and at least as far as Americans go, you can't out scam the scammer. So what's happening, and I'm seeing a ton of these videos, advertisements, is that these cameras are being upcharged, but not only, and that's to be expected. I bought it for $5. I'm going to sell it to you for 100. I get that. I get that completely. But what they're doing is they're making it as much of a scammer as the Chinese have done. So in below the description of this video, I think I tried to put a link to one of them. I tried to look at to get all these links, but I just couldn't in time. So this one in particular is I think it's a G thumbnail camera from, it's supposed to be like a Charmra, Kodak Charmra, and so the Charmra is around 30 to 40 bucks if you can get that price now because they're wanted so well. Or anywhere from 10 $24, but usually if you're going to get 18 to 24, you're getting at least the SD card with it, right? Some You gotta be careful though. Some of them are not including the SD card on like Temu and Alibaba and all that. So anyway, if you look below, this is one of those G thumbnail cameras. They're just reselling it. Again, perfectly fine. I'm certain they went to Alibaba and they got a billion of them. But if you read it, it's very, very tricky. They're selling it without the SD card for 35 bucks. That be all fine and said, but in the advertisement, I could not find anywhere where it tells you, "Oh, you'll need an SD card." So they're getting out the door for 35 bucks. They're not going to tell you, oh, you'll need an certainly somebody that knows about cameras will know you'll need an SD card, but the average person just scrolling at Facebook is not going to know that. Now, I wish I could find there was another one. I cannot find it now, of course, but I was just looking at it last night, and it's like popping up every night. It is somewhat like this camera. This is the Usmixi, yeah, whatever Chinese name, Chinese the name of the Chinese company put on it. It was US Mixi camera. It was it was it was supposed to be a half frame camera, but it's a full frame camera. Anyway, as this camera is 20 bucks. They're selling it for $129. Now, what makes it a scammer, I got it. If I got it, a rescammer. You're rescamming it. Write it down, Jeff. We got it. Rescamera. So what makes it a rescamera is that they're doing the whole advertisement bit. You don't need a disposable camera, yada yada, and we could talk about that too. Where they're almost all the same, but again, they're not telling you important things. When you look on this King camera, yeah, when you look on their listing and stuff, they don't talk about important things like the aperture, the shutter speed, what the lens is made of. Why would you? You wouldn't mention that this lens, and I'm certain full plastic lens, it's going to look very soft. It's not going to be super focused. Um, but what was really interesting about that one, I wish I could tell you the name of it. I don't remember the name of it. Is who it was for. It was very specifically for. It was for um, white upper class women that do not necessarily go online, or maybe they're the ones you're going to find at in the museum gift shop, that sort of thing. $129, and they're trying to put it off as a very nicely constructed camera, when in fact it's one of these, all plastic. And you tell on the close-ups of the pictures of the camera that it has like the real cheap plastic spindle and all that. But it is, make no mistake about it, it is one of these cheap plastic cameras from China. And when I'm telling you, I've seen like 12 of these advertisements for these cameras in um, I would say within the last month. So something happened. Well, that's the way it is. It gets out this month, but they've been planning it for most of the year, right? So they saw the success of like the camp snap, and they go, well, we need to get in on that. But they can't do the camp snap because, or they can, but it's a lot more because this is a an American-owned company, though they do have made in China. They control the quality and what is put on it. And if you know anything about the camp snaps, they've gone through these iterations because people say, "Hey, you got to improve this, you got to improve that," and they do. For you know, I'm not giving them any. I question them sometimes, but they're it's an up and up company. These other ones, though, are not that. They will um, they will say, that they're going to tell you, oh, it's not disposable. It has all these things, but there's no specific specs on them. You don't know what the aperture is. You don't know what again, make certain, it though, that it's all plastic, right? And so I've seen that. Oh, and then let's talk about the advertisement aspect, not so much the scammer part or scamming part of it, but just you're seeing a repeat of all these. And I can kind of see why. I mean, the advantages of having a camera over a disposable camera, I definitely get that, but it's the way they present it. It's like they don't even, like, why would we even try? Let's just copy that and just. In fact, I remember the Digi film camera, which is basically that one street Oh, there's a one street camera. So this is the one street camera. This is actually a very this is becoming a very popular resell camera. So like one street, they're not like Camp Snap. They just buy them in bulk and they resell them. There's no real. They're not changing. I mean, maybe they will later on, but they're not changing anything. It's just a resell, right? So you're seeing a lot of these though being rebranded, and I just saw one today had brown instead of black. That one street, they sometimes sell white, sometimes pink, but 99% of the time they're selling black because I guess they get cheaper that way from the Chinese, and the Chinese will actually sell you these bulk cameras for more if it just simply has like a pink or a white, something besides black. So anyway, I make this video because for those of you who don't know the difference, you need to really think before you push the button and buy a camera. You need to really do your homework because you're getting scammed. I mean, big time. I'm to sell this camera for $129. There's one born every minute, and there is. Trust me. So, um, shop, 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 especially on Alibaba, AliExpress, Temu, because you're going to find them there. That's where they are. And I'm not saying they're bad cameras. I love this camera. It's the crappiest camera I have, but I've shot on it. I've used 4 rolls on this camera. That's not, and it does. It has a very particular look, but I would never in my life pay $129 for this camera. Even if I was a rich white influential woman, I wouldn't pay $129 for a camera, especially since they're trying to package it into something that it's really not, right? It is not high end because they're showing it as that, but that's right. TikTok influencer said so. Hey, you gotta be, it has to be right. Um, so it is. Maybe we should the re-scammer scammer or the neo. Now, if I was in visual arts, we would call it neo. So the neo scammers, um, they're here, they're in the West, and and the um, and the capitalists are reselling. But looking going back to that G thumbnail camera, which I you can find it on AliExpress between like 18 and $24, and that's a high end. They're usually around 15 to $18 with the um, SD card. Fast forward. Oh, and this was the other thing. They're only selling one of them. It's one of the designs. They're not even selling. You can find like 8 different designs for the G thumbnail camera. But they're not even doing that. They're selling one of them. The one it says 1984 and it has like multicolors on it. It's the 80s influence. And they're selling it for almost I was looking at it, I'm thinking after taxes and all, you're probably looking at $38 probably. So I for something again you can buy for 18 bucks. I get it. I get the resale thing. And I would almost even say go for it if I saw a backing for it, right? In other words, you go for like Camp Snap. In fact, I think honestly, Camp Snap's probably the only camera I've really seen that has a a online presence for it. I haven't seen one for that one street. And I get it because they are what they are, right? But I would argue in many ways this is very much compatible with at least the basic Camp Snap, right? So if they would even just had a actual community form for it, give me a site where I can hang out with, but they don't even do that. They're not there for that. They're there to sell you this $20 camera for $128 or 129 and just be done with it, right? And I wonder like what are the returns and all that, but it is very interesting. I wish I could show you I don't remember the and that one's the one that's specifically in my mind. Oh, and then there was another one today. I wanna say it's Rust camera. It's a very beautiful camera, but then you look at it has this ring around it, like all the Chinese scammers do this. And it's focus free. Oh my god, that's great. It's a 28 millimeter f8. Amazing. But it doesn't tell you anything about the fact that it's just a soft plastic out of focus plastic lens. So I I don't know, Jeff. What am I thinking of? I'm kind of getting it. It is going to be a short one, but so the Rust one, really beautiful, and it too was it was $100. So somewhere in America or Australia, wherever they're starting to sell these things, they're going like, God damn, we had to buy the thing for $10. Let's make it 128. I That's basically what's happening. Um, so again, be very careful with what you buy, not only because you're paying way too much money for it, but this is, I know I'm not, as much as we could laugh about Timu and about, Alibaba and all those people, they refund your money. I know I've had my money refunded only about twice, and it was not their fault. It was because they have sellers on there. It was the seller's fault, but Timu refunded. I don't know if the $128, one is going to refund you your money. You don't know. You don't really. So if something happens to it, you might be screwed, and you pay 128 $29 for a camera that's 20. So I think I am going to leave it here unless you can think of something, Jeff. Um, I just I, I saw so many of 'em. I mean, I've literally seen like 20 different cameras in this week alone. So it is here. They're doing it. It's large scale. Um, and I don't see for the future. Even oh, there was I just posted a story about Kodak film, though Kodak's not the only game in town. Understand? I do Kitmere. Don't maybe they own that. I don't know, but uh, there's something about the people who were making or distributing Kodak film. Now Kodak's saying, we kind of want to get back into this game. So Kodak is making a film right alongside their film. You can buy it. I think the Kodak wand from Kodak though can now be bought in like just retail stores. I don't know. It was kind of like why I understand. It was kind of hard to understand what they were exactly saying about that. But the reason I bring that up is if we're going to start seeing film in like Walmart and regular 35 millimeter film in Walmart and Target, then that's only going to feed the desire to have these cameras. And we are talking specifically film because a lot of people do the disposable film camera thing. And as Jeff and I were talking about the other day, I think it's just a matter of ignorance, right? They don't really know, hey, I can just get a regular camera, get the same effect that I like, the look I like, and be done with it. And it's the same thing if they really knew, oh, I could do digital. I can take 36 or I can take 500 pictures on my trip on one charge and then download it. And it looks kind of like I wouldn't say it looks like film, but it looks kind of filmish like. You know, all options, you either like film or you know, definitely the cheapest, right? You buy it once for more or less and it's done. So as we get to that stretch in society where people are going to start saying, "Oh, wait a minute, this disposable film is too much. I'm going to one of these." you're going to see a lot of these, even more of these neo scammer ads. Um, I just I was just taken back by it. I've been seeing it all week, and I just kind of. But today I saw that one with the Kodak Scamera, and I'm like $35, and it doesn't even have. You can only pick the one, and it doesn't have an SD card to go along with, and it doesn't mention that you need an SD card. That's important. So again, if you don't know anything, especially don't know anything about cameras, you need to really start learning because you're going to get scammed one way or another eventually if you don't. All right, Jeff. I think that's going to be it, unless you want to put something else in on it. I think I'm going to. Uh, it's a short one. What was it? 5 minutes. Yeah. Until then, later.